Today we kick off with an exciting 3-part mini-series about vaccine handling principles. Dr. Schabort Froneman from Zoetis joins us in studio today. Now, him and his colleague, Dr. Natanya Smit, recently published a vaccine handling guide, and we'll be talking about some of the relevant topics. Schabort, thank you for joining us. Firstly, why did you publish this guide?
Hello, Lisa. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. Zoetis published this guide. So me and Natanya ran this project. So it's a bit of a back to basics project. So farmers pay a lot of money for vaccines, and we invest a lot of effort in creating programs and herd health programs. But effectively immunizing cattle does not always happen if the vaccines aren't handled correctly and all the right steps aren't followed. So that's simply why we created this program, to make sure that farmers can effectively immunize and not just vaccinate their animals.
I mentioned in the beginning, it's a 3-part mini-series from our side. So I assume there are 3 parts in the guide as well. What are they?
Yeah. So it's not very creative. We just broke it down between before vaccination, during vaccination, and after vaccination, just to be logical, and what steps you should do to make sure we get to the effective immunization like I talked about. So it's basically a checklist, if you want to look at it that way. Yeah.
So what's important when it comes to before vaccination? What will be covered?
So before vaccination, there's a couple of steps that needs to be covered. Often these steps are overlooked, but it's some of the most important steps. So first off, it's very important to read your vaccine labels. In each and every vaccine label, there's a lot of information, but very important, the dosage, the amount of vaccine you should inject, the route you should inject it for, whether it's, for example, safe for pregnant animals or not. All that information is in that vaccine label, and it's very important to diligently go through that vaccine label beforehand. And then handling the vaccine, the cold chain. The cold chain starts even at us as a manufacturer, going to the veterinarians, going to the co-ops. That cold chain must be kept all through. And when the farmers buy the vaccines, they must ensure that cold chain from where they buy the vaccine until it gets injected into the animal, that cold chain are maintained. That's quite important. Other factors that are important in managing and handling the vaccines beforehand are protecting it against ultraviolet light. I'm trying to think now, there's a lot of tips in there, stuff like coordinating your vaccination. So you vaccinate certain groups of animals at the same during the same time at the day. When you reconstitute vaccines, do it next to the crush just before you vaccinate. So there's quite a lot of steps. I can't remember them all now, but in preparation, you want to set yourself up for success. That's what the before vaccination part is all about. So that when the during vaccination part comes, all the necessary steps are already followed.
Can we get back to the cold chain failure? It's apparently one of the most common causes of vaccine failures. How can producers prevent this on a farm? Give us some advice.
Yeah, so that's actually very simple. The way you should think about it is you should try and keep vaccines at refrigeration temperature, so 2 to 7 degrees Celsius. You don't want to go below that, and you don't want to go above that. So if vaccines freeze, for example, it's just as detrimental as when you leave them in the back of the bakkie and the temperature goes up to 30 degrees Celsius. So either below or above 2 to 7 degrees Celsius is detrimental. And it might be as simple and practical as having a cooler box with a little kitchen thermometer in there and a couple of cold packs, and ensuring you keep that temperature in that range. It doesn't have to be unnecessarily difficult, but it just takes a bit of attention.
Now, Schabort, in this guide, it's mentioned that a herd health program is of utmost importance. Give us a practical example of what this program should look like.
So a herd health program is actually more than just a vaccination program. So a vaccination program is just one part of an integrated herd health program. So it's always very important to collaborate with your veterinarian and to create a comprehensive, tailored for your farm herd health program. That would encompass everything from parasite control and vaccinations and even pasture management, whatever may play into herd health. From our side, what we're talking today now is the vaccination part. So there's different classes of animals, even in a herd. In a beef herd, there's bulls, there's cows, there's heifers, there's calves. Each of these animals need specific vaccinations at a specific time. Some vaccinations can be given together, others can't. There's a lot of finesse going into creating a proper herd health program, and that's what I would strongly recommend, taking hands with your vet and creating a vaccination program as part of your herd health program for your farm, for your geographical region, that would be effective and price effective for your farm. Yeah.
Now, one of your recommendations in this section, and I'd like to read it, is use vaccines containing trace minerals only after considering the risk of overdose. Talk to us about this.
It's actually, like I forgot to mention in the beginning, this is a very thorough manual. So we've got all the obvious and the not obvious little points in there. So there are a couple of vaccines, not a lot, that, for example, that are combined with a trace mineral. Now, it is common practice sometimes to co-inject multi-minerals with vaccines. And this is just a simple point to get the attention to the fact that if you inject a vaccine that's combined with a mineral, that you don't, or a multi-mineral, that you don't go-inject another multi-mineral or get those animals into a state of toxicity because you're overdosing minerals now. That is, however, not often the case. That's the exception, I must say.
Before we end off our first discussion, and this is about before vaccination, you also talked about suspected adverse drug events. What are the risks that producers should be aware of along with their veterinarians?
So I almost want to split it in two there. So with most vaccinations, if not all, there is a small risk that animals can develop anaphylaxis, which is a life-threatening allergic condition, if you will. It is a very small risk though, but as a part of your preparation before vaccination and having a farm pharmacy, that sounded weird, a farm pharmacy. In your farm pharmacy, you should have a plan along with your veterinarian, have certain drugs or options there to treat anaphylaxis. That, however, again, is very rare, but because it's life-threatening, it's good to be prepared for that. Other adverse reactions that we look at with vaccinations are injection site lesions or lumps that can develop depending on the vaccine. Some vaccines have got oil adjuvants that are irritant that might cause a lump, and if you read the package insert properly, like I said in the beginning, you'll expect that and you won't be alarmed. But that lump can also be an abscess if you didn't adhere to aseptic techniques and kept hygiene properly and changed your needles. I'm running ahead now, we'll get there. But that's the sort of adverse reactions that we commonly refer to. Yes.
What are we talking about next time?
So we've done before vaccination preparation now. So next time, the next step will be the during vaccination, the do's and don'ts there.
Well, that is part 2 of our exciting 3-part mini-series on vaccination handling principles with Dr. Schabort Froneman from Zoetis. We'll see you next time.